Prime Minister promised a good deal for Canadians by July, but we've seen 86,000 Canadian workers lose their jobs. That includes 100 families in Maitland as Invista sent their jobs down to the U.S. It includes 35 families in Brockville as steel tariffs they crush the operations at Douglas Barwick with more jobs on the line. Canadians can't feed their families on the empty promises that they're hearing across the way today or hear from the Prime Minister. So when will he deliver that good deal for Canadians that he promised by July?
The Honourable Parliamentary Secretary to the Minister of Finance.
I find it slightly ironic that the Conservatives are lecturing us about protecting jobs. While the opposition leader fought all summer to protect his jobs, we were standing up to protect Canadian jobs. We've offered workforce reskilling for 50,000 workers. A strategic response fund of $5 billion will provide flexible financing to help firms adapt to tariffs. We've launched and moved forward on a Buy Canadian policy, liquidity relief, regional tariff response initiative, and a remissions framework. All of these things demonstrate to Canadians, and they will know, and they know who is going to stand up for their jobs.
The Honourable Member for Leeds, Grenville, Thousand Islands, Rideau Lakes.
Well, on behalf of the 86,000 Canadians who lost their jobs, how's that going for you? Because I want to know, as Canada has the fastest shrinking economy in the G7, with $52 billion of net investment fleeing Canada, we want to know, Mr. Speaker, to the member opposite, what is their plan? Canadians can't feed their families with these empty promises. This Prime Minister promised that deal. Instead, he's down in Washington gushing over Donald Trump as investment flees our country at a record pace. What are they doing for Canadians who are out of work?
The Honourable Parliamentary Secretary to the Minister of Finance.
The famous words of Helen Keller, pathetic is the man who has sight but no vision. I would suggest to Canadians that the Conservative Party has no vision for the future of Canada's economy. This party got elected on a mandate to build Canada strong, to protect Canadian jobs. That's exactly what we're doing.
The Honourable Member for Simcoe North.
Mr. Speaker, the Prime Minister promised he would negotiate a grand security and economic deal with the Americans, and then has gone on to make concession after concession with little to show for it. He cancelled the DST, he cancelled reciprocal tariffs, he withdrew complaints on softwood lumber. Now he's gushing over the President of the U.S., calling him a transformative leader once again, and what does Canada have to show for it? When will this Prime Minister keep his promise to Canadians and deliver a deal to secure a deal with the Americans?
Hear, hear.
The Honourable Secretary of State for Financial Institutions.
Mr. Speaker, while the Conservative leader was busy this summer trying to get back the only job he ever had, we crisscrossed the country listening to Canadians. We got feedback from Canadians. On November 4th, Mr. Speaker, we are going to table a disciplined budget that is going to spend less, invest more, create thousands and thousands of good-paying jobs. This is what a government looks like that's going to build Canada strong. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
The Honourable Member for Simcoe North.
Mr. Speaker, a disciplined budget. The deficit has doubled. Almost 100,000 Canadians are now out of work. They still don't have a deal with the American auto plants are mothballed. Manufacturing is slowing. $54 billion of investments have left this country. Tariffs are higher today than when this Prime Minister took office. So when will he actually deliver on his promise to secure a deal with the Americans?
Absolutely. The Honourable Secretary of State for Financial
Mr. Speaker, as we go door to door on this side, what we're hearing back from Canadians is crystal clear. Canadians chose, they compared between a leader with world-class experience versus a leader that's never had a job outside the House of Commons. Mr. Speaker, we stand with our Prime Minister. Canadians stand with our Prime Minister. We are going to build the strongest, most resilient economy in the G7, an economy that Canadians can be proud of. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
The Honourable Member for Beauce. Mr. Speaker, the Prime Minister promised to resolve the U.S. tariffs before July 21st. Today, not only has he failed to deliver, but the situation is getting worse. On October 14th, Canadian lumber will be hit with another tariff increase, this time to 45%. Mr. Speaker, in Beauce and across the country, our market is suffocating. Our businesses are suffering while this government stands idly by. Mr. Speaker, even the Prime Minister said we'd have a big win. But can he finally keep his promise with respect to all of the U.S. tariffs? The Honourable Parliamentary Secretary. Mr. Speaker, I'd like to remind everyone in this House that 85% of Canadian exports to the U.S. do not have any tariffs in the U.S. or taxes. For the other products that are affected by specific tariffs, we are working hard and we are providing them support in this transition. We are always here to support companies, particularly in the regions, Mr. Speaker.
Honourable Prime Minister bragged that he could handle President Trump. He promised to negotiate a win. He said he would have a deal done by July 21st. Well, it's October, and not only is there no win, but the Prime Minister keeps losing. Despite giving concession after concession to the Americans, softwood lumber tariffs have doubled since he took office. His failure to do what he said he would do has already cost hundreds of forestry jobs and put thousands more at risk in BC alone. Why has the Prime Minister abandoned our softwood lumber workers and broken his promise to get a deal done?
The Honourable Parliamentary Secretary to the Minister of Natural Resources.
Speaker, we will always stand with communities and workers in softwood lumber industry and across the forestry sector more broadly. We've made significant investments, including $700 million in loan supports, $500 million to diversify the sector to ensure there's jobs not just today, but in the future, and we are entirely seized with this issue, Mr. Speaker.
Honourable Member for Similkameen, South Okanagan, West Kootenay.
Mr. Speaker, the Prime Minister promised a deal with the Americans by July 21st. Still no deal. In fact, softwood tariffs have doubled. A decade of Liberal failure has lost thousands of lumber jobs. Yesterday, the Mayor of Grand Forks announced an indefinite closure of the Interfor mill because of these tariffs. 150 jobs lost in a small town. On behalf of these workers, why have these jobs been denied by the Prime Minister? Why has he failed to get a deal?
The Honourable Parliamentary Secretary to the Minister of Natural Resources.
Mr. Speaker, we stand with the workers in rural communities. Forestry is the heartbeat of Canadian rural life. It provides the roads, it provides the jobs, it provides the community spirit, and we are there with investments to protect workers who have lost their jobs, as well as investments going forward. The government is also looking to use more Canadian lumber in more Canadian products, which is part of our Build Canada strategy, and you can expect to hear more about that in the coming weeks, months, and years.
The Honourable Member for Cowichan, Malahat, Langford.
The Prime Minister promised to, quote, negotiate a win for Canadians with President Trump. He promised a deal by July 21st, but still no deal. Now tariffs on lumber are set to increase from 35 to a whopping 45%. On Vancouver Island, we have several mills that have curtailed operations to year-end. They face closing entirely if we don't see change. That's thousands of lost forestry sector jobs. When will the Prime Minister finally realize mills will close, thousands of jobs on Vancouver Island will be lost without an end to U.S. tariffs on lumber?
The Honourable Parliamentary Secretary to the Minister of Natural Resources.
Mr. Speaker, we stand with the workers that are affected by these tariffs, which is why we are providing the supports that we're providing. We are working at every level to resolve this dispute with our American friends, and we are also making investments to support those communities as well as diversify markets going forward.
The Honourable Member for Quebec-Mactaquac.
The Prime Minister promised a deal with President Trump by July 21st, and yet still no deal. Lots of concessions on Canada's part, but still no deal. And what about lumber? Mills back home in places like Florenceville and Plastrock are contending with the challenges these tariffs bring. When the Prime Minister Harper faced this issue, he got it resolved in 80 days. After 10 years without a deal, does this Prime Minister realize that the longer he fails to get a deal on lumber, thousands of jobs back home in New Brunswick are at risk?
Parliamentary Secretary to the Minister of Natural Resources.
Well, Mr. Speaker, it doesn't feel very resolved. This is a long-standing challenge, but it's one this government is going to be working to resolve by making significant investments in the future of the forestry sector, as well as supporting the workers right now while we work towards a deal. Buying Canada and Canadian procurement is a significant part of this component, which is why it's so important that we support projects like Build Canada Homes. I hope the members opposite will do just that and get on board.